Hey guys, welcome back to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. It is Thursday, it is She-Hulk Thursday. It's going to be episode 2 breakdown, spoiler review, of course. With me tonight, we have Loretto and Ryan, and we're going to break this down. Now, for me, She-Hulk's not, it's not that great for me. It's been kind of underwhelming. I really liked episode 1, which I want to get Ryan and Lo's thoughts since they weren't here last week. So yeah, spoilers. Thank you. Bang, bang, bang. You guys see this right now. It's still underwhelming. Episode 2 is a bit better for me. But yeah, Loretto, I'm gonna throw it to you first. What did you think about episode 1, and how you feeling about this one?
So admittedly, off bat, I like the energy. Tatiana Maslany is just such a magnetic, charming actress, and I honestly love her presence, her delivery. She's got the charisma to really carry her own show. With that being said, though, as much as I liked the meta thing with her talking to us directly through the camera, it felt like they were pressing fast forward the whole time. It's definitely weird, like just speeding through her transformation and her lawyer life, like within 20 minutes. It's like, okay, so I hulked out, now I'm a lawyer, deal with it. And I think that's my only complaint. But as much as some of you guys didn't think it was that funny, I had fun with it. I thought that there was a little bit, some CG looked a little bit rough here and there, but I liked having Mark Ruffalo play off of her. I thought they played well off each other. I really liked the small sentiments, like the small moments. Tony Stark helped build his bar, and those kind of little nods to the past were great. And ultimately, I actually liked the premiere. I just felt like it definitely showed that there's room to grow. But I liked the vibe of the show, the feel of the I mean, personally, the humor kind of hit with me. So maybe that's just what it is. It's either it hits with you or it doesn't. And I think that differentiates whether or not you enjoy this show, because it feels pretty divisive on the net right now. It's like some people think it's trash, some people love it. So I think it's just one of those things. So
yeah, definitely. I think humor is the big thing here because it is marketed and as a sitcom, and it's placed in a box as a sitcom. So I think that it's hard for us to kind of like transition into that. And I think it's been hard for me to transition to that level of humor. I've been feeling kind of disjointed with the fourth wall break. I think like there needs to be like more balance with that. We don't get enough of it, and then when it does come, it kind of feels awkward. But Rai, you weren't here on the show last week. How did you feel about episode 1? Do you think 2 is better than 1? What are your first impressions of She-Hulk so far?
I'm already bored of She-Hulk, to be honest. Like, it's a cool 22 minutes, but like you can see, and the writers have even admitted that they don't know what they're writing, and it just kind of hinders it, especially when the writer acknowledges it. I find myself having a harder time having fun with this than I think Lo and like Gabe are having with it. Maybe it's fun because it's just that bad. They obviously did not intentionally make it hilariously funny good, or they didn't intentionally make it bad as if it's playing off the genre that it's within. And I'm just like, yeah, come on. I'm tired of it. I really am. I think her CGI. Shut the geeks down. No, I think we should just shut Loretto down.
No.
Yeah, we just shut Loretto down here.
Let Lo speak.
I'm not a big criticizer of CG, but between Thor: Love and Thunder and She-Hulk, oh boy, man, She-Hulk CG is so bad, and I find it cringy that they make her suit green too whenever she changes, and I'm just saying, God bless your souls, showrunner writers, because I just don't know what to make of this show. It's kind of flabbergasting, like especially with the Emil stuff in episode 2. It kind of just feels like they were just doing the Mandarin 2.0, like not exactly the Mandarin, but they're taking him a step back and putting him on more of that Namaste road and making him have the jokes left and right. Now, I'm not saying everything needs to be mopey and gropey, but I just feel like this show's This episode was 22 fucking minutes long and 8-minute credits, Loretto. Please defend that. How can you have a 30-minute long episode without any commercials and give us an 8-minute credit scene? Like that's over a third of the total runtime of the episode, by the way, is credit.
I mean, to be fair, right? The length of the show doesn't bother me.
It bothers me because I feel they skip so many pivotal things in her story. I feel like we're already within like progress halfway through a season's worth of story development for this character. Like the whole Tatiana stuff was literally blown aside. They literally couldn't have made her a cringier villain either. A fucking influencer villain, like.
I was gonna say that's probably one of my least favorite things.
That's so cringy. Like I know
it looks very CW.
It does, and apparently they want to put her in the Thunderbolts. So like she's one of the characters. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, it's just.
But can I speak to the CG really quick? Because I think a part of it is it's inconsistent because there are some shots where Ruffalo Hulk looks incredible. Like there's some scenes like when they're just hanging out taking drinks, like he looks like a person, but then he bear hugs She-Hulk when they're fighting and they go through palm trees and it looks like garbage. So I think it's just the consistency that like when you see a good shot and a bad shot next to each other, it makes the bad shot stand out more. So I think that's where I'm at with the CG. Sure. It's just a little bit inconsistent. So
I hear you.
I think the Hulk CG just looks 10,000 times better than She-Hulk's, even in the fighting scenes. The one thing I will say, though, is they don't benefit themselves from having the Hulk or Bruce's Hulk, Smart Hulk, whatever you guys want to call him at this point. He's so kind of just gray that the setting they were in was also very gray. It was green and gray, and those two colors don't really go like vibrancy together. You know what I mean? They don't stick out on top of each other. So I think they kind of did that because of the CG problems they had on the show. But I think when the characters are straight up standing and walking, not in like any action scene, I think the Hulk looks 20,000 times better than She-Hulk. The definition in his hair, his face, in between his skin is way more detailed than She-Hulk. She-Hulk just looks super plastic. She looks just super shiny. Her hair's perfect. There's nothing about her that looks realistic like the Hulk does at least. Like if you look back at the Incredible Hulk, he's got that super veiny, like he's just this super like Arnold Schwarzenegger type of person. He had that type of body. And I just think the way they approach it, the Hulk CG, just overall was just way better and obviously totally different than the way they approached She-Hulks, because the way they approached She-Hulks was it's laughable because they didn't plan it all. Like they also admitted, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Jen and I feel like even her eyes, they added, because like Tatiana has green eyes, but I think they added like another layer of like CGI to her eyes that even like the movements are just so weird. I was deceived because I'm like, she's perfect. I spoke to Ryan about it. I'm like, she looks perfect, but then it's like that's not the point of like making the character, because then if you do look at the Hulk, like Ryan said, it's more defined. So for her, it's just like the movements feel off and they feel delayed. And now that she's gonna fully be in like She-Hulk character versus Jen, it needs to be more polished, I think. And hopefully by the end it will be. For me, for Jen, what got to me the most was when she got fired and then it took like a montage and then she got rehired at the law firm, that it happened so fast. Yeah, I mean, right, if you want to speak to it, that's what I just don't understand, how fast paced that can go. But for me, it's the fact that we have Jennifer Walters, who's struggling with her identity. She's struggling as Jen, as a lawyer trying to find a job, and then as She-Hulk. But that's never like fully explored. And I feel like we're just gonna keep that at the surface and we're not gonna dive into that. Lo, what do you think about that, and actually exploring her identity and how the main focus is now gonna be on She-Hulk moving forward versus Jennifer Walters? You think they'll dive into that later on, or they're just not even gonna touch it?
I actually agree with that point in a sense that, like I said from the first episode, it just feels like we're hitting fast forward and
Yeah.
we're just like, like they just keep throwing stuff at us. Like this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Okay, episode 3 now, and it just feels like I like what they're doing with her development as a character, and like I like
Mhm.
seeing her family. But you're right, we're not getting enough. I think Tatiana's way too good of an actress to not give her those personal and those sympathetic moments where we can actually feel for her more. I think her best sequence was really like almost a throwaway scene where she was explaining to Bruce about why she's so good at controlling her anger.
Mm.
That monologue was brilliant, but I also feel like they didn't even give that its moment to breathe. Like they just went right next to the next quip and the next montage, like where they were throwing rocks or something. But
Yeah.
that moment was awesome. I felt like they didn't give it the impact it should have had, where she was explaining like, I have to pretend I'm not angry all the time because I'm a woman. I have to show that I'm not emotional. I have to show it. I love that. And I think you're right. I think we need more of that. We needed to see her struggle, I think. Because
Yeah.
right now she seems too perfect. Like she's the best lawyer. She's the best Hulk. She's even better than Bruce. She's doing everything
But why
perfect.
is she the best? No one. I don't understand why.
See,
She's just a
yeah.
lawyer. Like
Right, right. And all of a sudden she can like beat him in a fight when he's been fighting for decades. Like I don't know. Um so maybe it's just natural instinct. I mean,
I
so there's a lot
don't
of things to
know.
explore here. Does she used to be an athlete? Because she seems like to know she knows how to move and handle
Very
herself. So
natural. Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like they're just I don't want to say this, but I feel like they're doing it on purpose because she is a woman and like they have to fast track that. And I this is like me as a girl saying that. Like I like you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense that they're gonna make her that perfect as you said. It's like I want the complexities of this character, and we're not gonna see that, especially with the fact that they've moved around episodes, so the development's going to be kind of weird because the eighth episode, sorry, the premiere was technically the eighth episode, and she was supposed to like get all of that later on and not fully become like She-Hulk and come into her own and all and like learn from Bruce until later on in the series. So I think that the episode placements, especially like the next episode, is going to be kind of weird for people to watch because we know that they've moved things around. And I think that's going to harm her development. Right. What do you think of like the duality of like Jen and She-Hulk and then her getting a
there's no
job and then
duality. That's the thing. There's no
yeah.
duality between the two. They in the first episode, they just straight up told you she's better at everything with no hesitation, no training. She even says at the end of the fucking episode, at the end of the episode, is like, I've gone 6 months without getting angry. See, fuck you, Bruce. Like, okay. And I think that's the thing about the show. It's just like so on the nose about the
Yeah.
point it's trying to make. When you guys have the good in the scenes between the characters. You have the good moments with Jen when she has to talk about those moments, what it's like being a woman. But I think it just gets ruined by everything in between because they also just don't let anything dramatic settle for more than 1 second. It's
Yeah.
either pushed in by a joke or her breaking the fourth wall about to say a joke. So
Can
Yeah.
I also speak to the length now,
Yeah.
right? Because now that I'm thinking
yeah,
about it,
Yeah.
dude,
she's sitting in the
22
bar.
episodes.
So she's sitting in the bar and she's really upset. And I think maybe I'm wrong because I think maybe 4 episodes from now we might feel different. But I think a good cliffhanger for episode 2 would have been her getting the job at the end and maybe see her struggle the
Thank
entire
you.
episode. But
That's
instead, the
yeah.
cliffhanger is the thing with Emil, and it just we're getting too many things at once. And it's like you said,
Yeah.
right? It's all within 20 minutes, so it's like nothing is
Nothing's
we're not sticking with
sticking.
anything. So
Not exactly the point. Nothing is sticking, and we're not even connecting with Jennifer Walters. We're not connecting with any of these characters. And I know I said this before, and it's kind of controversial, but like I don't think this show really has a heart. And I know Lo, you felt the opposite of that. But I feel like we're trying really hard to connect with her, but I feel like it's like a Twitter version. It's a performative version of this character and what, people want to see rather than sticking directly to the comic books and kind of like developing her from scratch, like that's not what's happening here. And I feel like they're trying to appease so many different people. And that's what it feels like for me anyway. But I want to get into, you mentioned Abomination. I'm gonna get into Tim Roth, who's like absolute legend. I love him. This is a question. Do you guys think that they kind of like dumbed down Abomination to fit the sitcom structure from like what he was from Incredible Hulk? Ryan, I'll go to you first if you
I
feel like
mean,
they
yeah,
dumbed him down.
I said it before. They just treat him like the Mandarin, where he's this really big, broody villain, and then the next second he's just like, I found my inner peace. Namaste, motherfucker. I'm great now. Here, you want some chi? Let me pull it out of my asshole and give it to you. Like that's really just all they did to him. And yeah, he can play it funny. Congrats, but I'm just like, okay, you guys try to set something up with the family dynamic of Emil trying to kill Bruce. But you know what? Everyone's a good character now. Just it's fine. We've had time to digest, and you know what? It's also because the super serum fucked with his head. Obviously, because it didn't happen to Captain America or anyone else. I mean, you make the argument for Red Skull, but it only just enhanced what was inside. So what are they trying to tell us? Is they're just completely retconning that it doesn't bring out what their true inner person is? Because that's what the serum's for. That's what it brought him out. Next thing you know, he's like, Namaste, motherfucker. I learned how to control the abomination. And one question I want to ask is, Bruce, how do you feel getting rolled so hard that you had to sit in a fucking beach club for 5 years during the snap age, but Emil learned to control his side of the abomination in a fucking jail cell? Boom. Real science bros right there, motherfucker.
I mean, I hear you. I get it. And they threw so much at us with Emil Blonsky. Again, they fast tracked it to justify where he is now. Like they told us everything. And I don't know how, if it's a front, maybe he's being really nice to get out of jail. And then obviously he's also going to be in the Thunderbolts eventually from what I've heard, you know. So Lo, how you feeling about Tim Roth coming back as Abomination? Do you think it's a front moving forward, or like how you feeling?
So I do want to preface this by saying I more or less actually am enjoying the show. There's a lot of things I like about it, but this is probably my least favorite thing. I am a huge Tim Roth fan, going back to Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. This guy is a brilliant actor, and he was one of my favorite things about Incredible Hulk. And I really hope this is a front. I really hope he's playing nice, because he played that villain really well. I don't know if you guys remember, but in Incredible Hulk, he wanted to fight the Hulk. He wanted to be stronger. He wanted to do another dose of the serum because he wasn't big enough. He wasn't strong enough, because he already took the serum and was fighting him as like a super soldier. He was doing like flips and like running with his machine gun, but it wasn't enough. He wanted more. So that part of him I thought was much more interesting than like what Rye was saying. It does kind of feel like a Trevor Slattery knockoff, like the Great Value brand, the Kirkland brand. Trevor Slattery. Like Tim Roth is, I mean, don't get me wrong, he can do comedy. I've seen him do comedy. If anyone's ever seen 4 Rooms, it's the weirdest freaking anthology of films with really good directors, Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, but it's really bizarre. Anyways, long story short, I really like Tim Roth, and I feel like this show is not doing him any service at all. It almost feels like shouts out to our friend Gabe, Film the Opinionitis. He actually is calling out Tim Roth, saying he kind of just did this for the check and he's kind of sleepwalking through this thing. And I hate to admit it, because I hate to assume that about such great actors, but it does kind of feel like he's phoning it in. It doesn't feel like his heart's in this. So
for me, it just doesn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it hard to like invest yourself in a role that isn't the same character as the last one you played, and you just sit down acting all like you're a fucking hippie all of a sudden?
Zen, yeah.
I actually, a really quick, John Daniel, I want to speak to this. So John Daniel says, we got to treat the Incredible Hulk with more respect. Dude, I like it more than most people. A lot of people hate that movie. I actually like it a lot.
I really like it. I think it's
fun. Like Edward Norton's great, Tim Roth's great, and dude, we need the leader back. For his name, he was great as the leader, and we just got nothing from him. So,
you know, I think they also made a joke to the Edward Norton being the Hulk too in this episode.
Yeah, that was. It was the line that Loretto pointed out, where he's like, "I've changed so much. Literally, I've changed like so much," and I'm like, "Okay, that joke went over my head. I'm not gonna lie to you."
I actually laughed out loud when I was watching it live.
You caught it, yeah.
What he says is, I was a different person
Yeah.
back then. And
There
then
we
he
go.
pauses and he goes, literally, I was a
Yes.
different person. And I was like,
Yeah.
like I just
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, he was a different
Honestly,
person.
it went over my head until you brought it up. I'm like, wait, that was the joke. Like that was the whole point of that. I didn't get it because I'm
Yeah.
like, it's like such a delayed thing to even mention. Oh my God, Holes. I love that
Thank you,
movie.
John Daniel. It was Tim Blake Nelson as the leader.
There we go.
Originally, he was helping Bruce, and then
Yeah, and he
he
got the
got the
blood in his head.
he got the Hulk blood in his brain, and he was gonna become the
Uh,
leader. That would have been
Oh
so
God.
cool.
$5, they either hint at it in this show or they do in Thunderbolts. He
Yeah,
is probably
they
some
could.
like secret behind the scenes shit. Maybe they might even make him like the leader since the guy who plays Everett Ross died. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah, William Hurt. He played
Yeah, William
General
Hurt,
Ross.
William Hurt.
possibility. Do you guys think that changing Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo makes sense given the team that we were like was built in the Avengers, or do you think Ed Norton would have like
What do you
suited?
mean? Hold on. Can
No,
I
no, no.
ask
I'm
you
saying like let's because we have
I
that
honestly,
line.
I love Ed Norton. Don't get me wrong; he's really
Yeah,
talented and he's great in everything he's done. But
yeah,
I don't think he would have played well with like 5 other people or even like an ensemble.
No.
Maybe I'm
yeah.
wrong.
I'm
I don't
just
know.
curious
No, he
because
definitely
I
wouldn't have.
honestly, yeah, I don't think that would have worked out for him at all. We can go into favorite moments now if there are any from this episode.
I have a few.
Ryan's
No, I have a
choking
few.
because I
Like I
said
said, I
that.
actually
So
enjoyed it for
let's
what it
go to low.
was. So
Yeah.
Uh,
What do you got, Lo? What do you got? Let's go to low first.
Yeah.
Favorite
so
moment.
shouts out the post credit scene. It got a really good seriously, it got a really good chuckle from me because I think the one thing that I can give this show credit is that I like seeing superheroes in everyday situations. So
Yeah.
it was hilarious to see her dad like, hey, now that you're strong, help me bring in these 5 jugs of water bottles in. Oh, while you're strong, can you help me mount my TV? Oh, wait, we need to change the tire on this. Can you lift the car up? So like
Yeah.
playing with those concepts is really fun. Like seeing superheroes be normal people. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And also shouts out, I really like the whole metabolism thing. So the fact that as She-Hulk, she can take hella alcohol and not be drunk, but then when she goes back to human form, she gets drunk. So again, that actually made me laugh out loud because when she transformed back into Jen to talk to her boss, she falls out of her chair, and that actually got a chuckle out of me. I love physical humor, and the way she played her being drunk was funny too. So that was actually my favorite moment.
I just find it funny that we've gotten Jen drunk twice already in the first 2 episodes at least. Like,
she is a 30-year-old woman. I understand. I get it.
But you're not 30.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate you saying that. Like, I'm not 30 yet, but I do like get her. I do. Right. What are your favorite moments? Let me know.
My favorite moment's got to be watching Shang-Chi in the newsreel. Like, I love that scene in the movie. Favorite one. Like, GG. No. Honestly.
His favorite scene's not even from the show.
I mean, that's it's the editing of that clip in the news.
No,
that's what it was.
My favorite moment is when so I gotta do like a little crawl to the first episode where they make the joke about having to make spandex your best friend. But my favorite moment is when she goes into the office for the first time in this episode, turns into She-Hulk, but her outfit for work changes with her and turns green. I'm like, whoa, bro, she's got more powers than just turning big and green.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I need to rewatch that. I didn't even catch that. So her shirt color changes?
Her whole outfit is green once she transforms. Yes.
Yep.
All right, I gotta look out for that.
Yeah. My favorite moment. Not only can she turn big and be strong, but her skin dye can also go onto her shirts.
Yeah, it was a choice. It was a choice. I think my favorite moment was probably Jen talking to Emil Blonsky. I thought they had a really good chemistry and a banter back and forth because obviously the last time we saw Blonsky, he wasn't like that zen. So I just really liked the come down from Tim Roth. I thought that was good. And they had good chemistry compared to like who Tatiana's working with in the show. I think with like a more seasoned actor with Tim Roth, it brings out the best in her, even if the writing's not that great.
I'm so mad that they wrote Bruce out so early. I'm like, goddamn, the one thing that had this show going for me.
I know. We'll get to that predictions wise. But I want to talk about Tyler's comment because it's been, I think, 5 movies and 2 shows, and we haven't mentioned the Celestial thing from the end of Eternal. So do you think dropping in She-Hulk is like, Lo?
I actually want to speak to this because
yeah.
I kept seeing this screenshot on Twitter. I don't even know where or when this happened. I saw the Wolverine thing. I saw the Eternals thing.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? Like, it was such a throwaway Easter egg. Like, I don't even know where that popped up. Like, so can someone please help me?
So I've got an answer for this. Or not an answer, just more of a, this is funny. It took them so long to throw an Eternals Easter egg into MCU films after it released that it dropped the same time as a Wolverine Easter egg, and they can't even legally talk about it yet. Just think about that.
Like, that's
just
how delayed.
That. That's how much they sort of throw, just Eternals under their arm. Like, no. They just like, come on, bro. If you guys are gonna make it, like, stick to it. I think the coolest aspect of that movie is the one they're ignoring. Like, come on, bro.
I know. I feel this. Sean is in the house. Hello, my friend.
What's up,
Can
Sean?
we please understand how her hair is nice and fluffy as Jen?
I said this.
But when she goes all She-Hulk, her head looks like it came from a damn commercial. I think it's because she evolves as the Hulk, so then her hair has to evolve as She-Hulk. Like, I think that's
just
what
like,
it is.
Just like Hulk's, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She has it in the comics, so if it's comic book accurate, I think they should have just made her hair long to begin with. But I think that's the only explanation, to be honest. I don't know.
No clue. I can't speak to any of that. I don't think I noticed. Maybe that's a bad thing.
You're like mesmerized by Tatiana. You're like, I don't care.
She is adorable. I'm just gonna be honest.
She's such a cutie.
She is a doll. Like, she's just she's awesome.
I love her. And Tyler adds on and says it happens when Jennifer is looking at the stuff on her computer. That's the Wolverine drop. But obviously, like every Marvel fan, we're gonna zoom in on anything that's on that screen and be like, oh my god, I found something. And there's also like a QR code. Because we can, but there's also a QR code. I think you get a free She-Hulk comic in this episode, from what I know. Yeah, that's what they've been doing. They've been planting QR codes in the Disney Plus series, and you can get a free comic. Yes, Loretto. It's like, connected.
That's pretty cool, but it's just like, I guess if you know, you know. Like, I've never heard of
it.
You
know.
Hear you now. You know, on the stream, you are welcome. Go get a free She-Hulk comic. I think. Are there any other like positives, negatives, anything you want to touch on before we get into predictions, guys? Or we can dive right in.
Well, what I was going to bring up actually could probably roll right into predictions, if that's okay.
Sure. That's not okay, Loretto. Sorry.
Yeah. Sure, love. So keep it rolling. Let's go.
I was pretty stoked to know that we did get to see Bruce in episode 2 briefly, and he was on a spaceship. So it's like, where is he going?
But like, so
I know.
I got a whole thing about this right now. So it looks like the ship that fell in front of them as they crashed, right? My whole thing is, if we go back to the first episode, he mentions or kind of just blows off what the ship is when Jennifer asks him. He's like, oh, it's just like a loader ship or whatever, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, okay, that seems weird, but sure, plausible, just falling in the middle of the street like that, whatever, looking face down directly at them. What I'm thinking is might lead into that rumored World War Hulk movie or show. I don't know which one it's, because on top of that, there's also things going around that Universal is losing the license to the Hulk really soon. So I feel like that's what they're teasing there. And I'm pretty sure he said it was a Sicarian ship too, right? He did. So, I'm just going to leave that there and just say he's going to go back to Sakaar for some reason. Maybe the Grand Master calls him back. I'm just trying to think at the end of Ragnarok, who else could still be there? Or like why he would want to go back to Sakaar. But that's my whole theory. Is I think this is the setting up the World War Hulk storyline, because I think they don't want to stick with the Smart Hulk ship for too long. They've already resolved his arm issue, so they're kind of just like being like, fuck this.
To your point, I was on Movie Files Live earlier, and we were talking about this. So is there a possibility that Hulk has a kid and then he shows up with the kid at the end of She-Hulk? Because that's also a theory floating around that that's where he's going, and he got busy afterwards.
Wait, say that again? Oh, that he has a
He could
kid?
have a child and bring
Oh,
the
I
child
heard that
back
too.
to She-Hulk. So that's like also a possibility because yeah.
No, I was just gonna. I don't know why they'd ever want to introduce another Hulk as soon as they introduce a She-Hulk. Just as a conception wise, like you guys already are adding enough characters that are adding to the roster. We already got we already got one baby from the end of the summer. We don't need another one. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know if we're gonna get him back, but we also don't have anything like planned. Maybe they'll announce it at D23 because I know they have a couple other projects that they're gonna announce on D23. So this could possibly be it without spoiling it. If there's enough episodes that could lead up to it to that specific date, I don't know.
If you remember, Amanda, at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, they had question marks within Phase 5 that I think they're waiting on the announcement, and maybe it's because of She-Hulk. Maybe they're going to announce a Hulk movie.
They could.
No,
I think
it's
it would
way
be
too
beneficial.
Soon.
Well, it would be technically phase 6.
I think it'd be phase 6.
Oh, here we go. So Sean has the answer. Marvel owns the IP of Hulk, but distribution rights are still owned by Universal.
See, that's how
what's funny is they're doing joint work with Sony. Why can't they do the same thing? It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Why don't they sign those papers? Let's do like those co-parenting things. Let's have them both fight for them and do that. But I don't know. I feel like for me, because I've watched 3 and 4, I don't know how people are gonna feel about the next 2 episodes. I don't know how Jennifer Walters is gonna look to people for what's coming up. But I did want to talk about the Shang-Chi timeline because that's another thing that also confused me in this movie, that She-Hulk's running at the same time as Shang-Chi with the whole like Abomination breaking out with Wong in that scene. So how is Bruce's arm like all mended? Because if that's the post-credit scene in Shang-Chi, yeah, I'm just curious because I don't. Yes, Loretto.
Well, the vibe that I got is that this takes place a little after Shang-Chi because they mentioned that the video was like has surfaced as if the video past tense has happened.
Yeah. So sorry.
And also, you have to imagine Wong has been working with Abomination because in Shang-Chi he's like we practiced, remember? So like they've probably been doing this for a while, and I think
fair point. Yeah,
the government has to know that he's been doing this. There's no reason not to. He literally brought him back to the facility after the fight in Shang-Chi. Like, come on, people.
Yeah,
that's why she hosts these.
Yeah, sorry. That's why I'm hosting these ones, so I don't like blab like I did with Moon Knight. Which I didn't. If you're watching, I was good. But yeah, I guess we can go into like, your final thoughts on the episode. Rye, if you want to go first, your final grade. What are you expecting for next week? You want to get into that?
Honestly, I've just learned I don't know what to fucking expect with this show. It's kind of different. Like different in a way. Like I can't even tell you if they're trying too hard, not trying enough. It kind of feels like they're really just putting in half the work. I'm not even talking about the crew itself. I'm talking about like a lot of just the writers and all that. Like I'm just sitting here, I'm like, what are you guys trying to tell us? What are you trying to give us? Because even it might be a comedy, but it's not saying anything. It's not telling us anything. No. It's not giving us anything new. It's just giving us So I do want to bring something up real quick because I thought this was an interesting comment. I forgot if it was the head writer, showrunner. They might be the same person. I don't really know. But one of them mentioned when talking about having a post-credit in every episode is they talk about doing it because they noticed how much we love post-credit scenes, right? As Marvel fans. Bro, every episode feels like a 20-minute post-credit scene with a different cameo. That's exactly how this feels with Jen Walter fucking narrating everything.
Okay.
It's boring. It's boring. I will say I do laugh at some of the jokes, but majority of the time I'm just it's unfunny,
Yeah.
it's unoriginal, and they don't even. I'm not even gonna get into the whole. It's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and they confess to not even knowing how to write a fucking courtroom show.
Like,
And
why
now they have
say
to
it?
edit. And now they had to edit the show after the fact around that. And ever since I saw that quote, God damn, does it fucking show, because she is not a lawyer in this show. And I think that's one of the most offensive things is like they want to show strong woman characters. Yes, she might be strong as a Hulk, but bro, show us, watch her dominate the fucking floor.
Yeah,
But
I
we don't
agree.
get that because they don't know how to write courtroom dramas. So there goes half of the show. It's just She-Hulk, attorney at nothing.
And she says it a lot that she's a lawyer. Like, it's every 5 minutes that she's a lawyer. And it's the fact that for me, it's like, I want to see her interacting with everyone. I want to see her in court. I want to see her have that banter with everyone around her and like her best friends and people at work. But that's like not happening because every time they try to like get into a trial scene, it's like cut really short. And I do think that this show would have benefited from like an hour episode than a half hour. See, we flop back and forth when we see the
No,
6 episodes at an hour. No, seriously, I think this should have been an hour, but keep it at 8, 9 episodes and not have it as a sitcom because I think that we're really missing so much meat for Jessica Walters and it's too short of a time span that we don't get a chance to stay with her in a long enough time to get to know her. And I think that's what I'm struggling with is that they're not letting these scenes breathe with her so we can actually get to know her. I think that's my issue with it.
I don't think the way is to make it an hour long episode because one, make it an actual 30 minute long episode. Don't give us 20
Fair.
minutes
Yeah.
and 8 minute credits. Like, that's absolutely fucking absurd and ridiculous, and get out of here. Stop trying to be a sitcom because you clearly, one, you can't write a courtroom show, and two, you can't write a sitcom show. So you're 2 for 2 right now. I don't know what to tell you because I feel like this would have worked not as a sitcom. It could have worked as a
That's
30-minute drama or a
yeah.
courtroom drama.
Yeah.
And they could have used the show, or hell, make it 45 minutes, have your typical one fight in there, but have each episode be that cameo galore that the writers all think we want. And have each episode kind of be a courtroom drama centered around a different character in the MCU, I think would be really cool.
That's what
Like
I
you
thought what was gonna happen, and now it didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. But what would you grade this episode, right?
3.5.
Damn, 3.5.
Yeah.
Oof, Loretto, I'm gonna throw it to you. Final thoughts about this episode, where you see it going next week, and then your final grade.
So what's up to all in the game? He's saying she should have asked about the budget for the division and her own pay and benefits before asking or accepting the job. That's pretty funny.
I agree.
I'll say one thing. My biggest complaint is not so much the show itself, but I think part of it too is the placement of this within the greater MCU. I think off the heels of Miss Marvel, which is very lighthearted itself, and I think Moon Knight had some darkness to it. Falcon the Winter Soldier
Yeah.
and Loki and even WandaVision, of course, had a lot of grief and really intense, like emotional moments that I think a show like Miss Marvel or She-Hulk kind of gives some levity to the grand Disney Plus universe that they're kind of developing right now. But I think the placement of this would have been is kind of odd right now. I think maybe we should have got Secret Invasion first or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Maybe like the Armor Wars would have been good to go first and then have She-Hulk after. Because
What's
I feel
Armor
like
Wars?
I
Sorry.
feel like
like
having Miss
I had to
Marvel
make the
and
joke.
She-Hulk back to back, it's just kind of
Yeah.
like it's feeding into what people don't like about the MCU, about too much humor and like a lot of like, to be fair, a lot of like the negative things about the MCU are showing themselves in this show, and I think it's a disservice to Tatiana Maslany and even to an extent Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth. But ultimately, with all that being said, I'm having fun for what it is. I think I kind of knew from the trailer, I knew exactly what we were gonna get. My whole thought process was this was gonna be a lighthearted comedy romp, and that I had no expectations of any greater stakes or any kind of intense action. So Yeah, I think ultimately I'll give it like a 6. It's not like the greatest television I've seen in the past couple of months, but Tatiana Maslany herself is just really charming, and it's she's giving me someone to root for. I just hope that where we get to at the end of the show is something of value, like you guys are saying. I think right now she's very much like a cardboard, one-dimensional character at this point. She's good at everything. She just turned into the Hulk. She's a really funny girl, but we haven't peeled back the layers yet. So I hope we get that in the next 3 or 4 episodes.
There's no layers to peel back because this is such a one-dimensional character, and I'm sorry, I'm so mad because I was looking so forward to the show. It's just I'm just amazing how much they just fucking fell off their bike so hard they scraped both knees. Like, come on. Did your parents not teach you how to ride a wheel when you were younger? Like tricycle, bro? Put your fucking big kid things on. Put your big kid fuck, can't talk. Put your big kid wheels on.
You're good. You're good.
And I'm just mad because the MCU is better than this. I don't know if the head writer is better than this, but something's got to be done. I hope wherever this character goes after, I hope this is the only season we get a She-Hulk. But whenever we see her next, God bless her. I love you, Tatiana.
I love her too. I'm sitting at a 6 as well. It's missing the mark. I guess we are. I think we are. I did like certain things. I like her friendship with Nikki. I think it's really sweet.
Who? Oh,
Nikki,
you mean the best friend? Oh yeah,
the best friend. But like I had to.
You mean the best friend that the show never has time to ever acknowledge? Yeah, that
well,
one.
that one. But for me, I think what's my issue with phase 4 right now, and why this doesn't fit, as like Loretto was saying in this case, is the fact that we've dealt with, characters grieving, experiencing loss, and then there was also a sense of like going on a journey of self-discovery and coming into their own as their hero. And I feel like She-Hulk is not touching upon any of those themes. I think that she's just coasting by and skipping and fast tracking everything. And that's what I got from this episode. The next 2 episodes are going to be a lot of fun for Twitter. I'm really excited to see what everyone's going to think about the next 2 episodes. But like, as I was saying, All in the Game mentioned this comment, Wakanda Forever's tone is much needed. I completely agree with that, because I feel like we're missing the grand scale of the MCU. I think we've gotten so many different things for the past year and a half now, and I feel like we're just missing the grounded level that we got from WandaVision, and like the humanity that we got from Eternals as well. As much as I didn't really like the film, the one thing that Chloe Zhao did was present the humanity with these gods incredibly well in that movie. So I think that we're just missing something. We're missing it, and I think that Wakanda Forever is really gonna bring that home. So yeah, I'm sitting at a 6, and hopefully next week's episode, you guys you guys don't hate it as much. You guys don't hate it as much. But yeah, guys, do you have any like final thoughts before I close out at all?
And myself,
I actually wanted to say, like, I feel like there's a lot of shows that run 30 minutes that do so much more with its time. And to Ryan's point, even if it's 20 minutes, like, you can do so much more. And I just hope that, like, I know you've already seen the next couple episodes, Amanda, but I'm hoping past that we can kind of like slow the pace down and just dig into her character more, because she is a wonderful actress, and I want to see more of what she can be underneath the She-Hulk.
Listen, I hope so. That's all I'm going to say. I really hope so. But right now, guys, on our Twitter at the Suit Up Geeks, please follow us there. We have our polls up. I'm going to actually be doing them shortly for our greatest MCU moments draft. So definitely go vote there. And obviously, guys, if you're here, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We have plenty of shows coming up every single Thursday. Literally, every single Thursday we are going to be reviewing She-Hulk, probably 8 p.m. Eastern. Is going to be our set time, and then we have our House of the Dragon reviews on Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern, and every other Sunday. This Sunday we do have our news roundup hosted by Loreto. So catch that at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then House of the Dragon right after. We have that there. We have our power rankings up for House of the Dragon, and then next week, guys. Next week we're gonna go back to Middle Earth with the Rings of Power. I'm very excited. We're gonna have shows for you guys there. So
the Rings of what?
Rings
Sorry,
of Power.
I don't know what that show is.
How dare you? We're going to Middle Earth.
Boo this man. Everybody boo.
Boo in the comments.
I'm just Cersei.
I will not have any
butt
Middle Earth
naked.
slander, please.
I'm just Cersei going down the road butt naked. Shame, shame.
Lo, you got there, right? No spoilers, right? No spoilers. You got there. You're okay with it?
I finished it. We're good. I finished the season. I'm totally caught up. And you know what? I'll save it for our next House of the Dragon show. But I am very, very happy right now.
Woo, I'm so happy. So, guys, thank you all for joining. Make sure to tune in on Sunday. We have a double stream just for you guys. So tonight is from Lo, from Ryan. We will catch you guys later. Have a great night, guys. Bye.